Welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
Take two.
Oh, we're just going live there. No intro there. Okay, welcome to the EST Hangout, presented by Sentinel Storage. Live right here on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, on YouTube, as wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you hit the butt computer there, Brendan. We had slight mic issues before we started, so we're going to do take two there. And I thought Brendan was going to go fire the intro again, but he's like, nope, you're on, speak. And here I am, Matt Iwanyk with you here today. Tommy not with us today. He woke up a little sick. Well, not a little sick. He says he had what Belzy had, and we saw Belzy last weekend. It's not good. So Tommy's resting up and doesn't want to get anyone else sick. And when we're in this small room, it's the smart decision Tommy made, but he will be doing the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show later today right here on Edmonton Sports Talk from his satellite studio at home. On the show today from Heavy Hockey and Oilers Live, we've got Dash in the Park. You guys will be on tomorrow, and you guys did wonderful post-game coverage for us a little bit during the Four Nations.
We did all right.
Patrick Phillips, who's also the Oilers fanatic on YouTube with us once again as well. Gents, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
The EST Hangout is presented by Sentinel Storage, Canada's storage experts, more than 2 decades of helping Canadians through life's transitions. Check them out, sentinel.ca, for more information on how to find a convenient location nearest you. 75% off 12 weeks, 5x5 units. That will end this Friday, which is the end of February. We're almost into March, which is absolutely crazy. Yeah. Canadian storage provider by Canadian, as I said, sentinel.ca.
Almost into March, where Matty guarantees the weather.
Well, I stand by what I said back there. Big Uke would be like, oh, guy predicted that it's going to be nice in March. That's not what I predicted, Big Uke, even though that's I'm just saying that it was. I was just saying back in mid-January that basically we're into spring. January was almost over, and February is a short month, and it's going to go by like that. And boom, before you know it's going to be March, and then really we're going to have a cold snap? No, we're not.
You
we're not going to have extended
1,000% jinxed us in February.
But I always said February is going to get cold. I never said February is going to be nice. I never said February is going to be fun.
Spring's around the corner.
And it was.
Yeah. For
we had
30 days.
At some point. We had a great January.
How quickly did February fly by?
It didn't. It was really cold, Matthew.
It flew by, though. I don't care that it was cold. It flew by. And before you know it was March. And now but have you seen the forecast for the rest of February?
Cold days are long days. It was really cold. It's your fault. They
weren't that long of days.
Belzy told me to say that.
What about the nice weather right now? Give me credit for that in February?
No. You don't make predictions. You don't make predictions.
It was just a mental state of mind. And mentally, we're almost through February and it's March.
Speaking of mental states of mind, is that a good segue for the Oilers? I don't know. Right.
No, I didn't know that's where you're going. Sorry.
That can mean so many things. It really could. And not that we need to get into it.
We have to talk Edmonton Oilers. Obviously, as we said, they're out in Tampa today. Audio stream's not working. Oh, okay. You don't have levels going through there. This is going to be interesting. Okay, I'll just quickly, your guys' thoughts in Tampa. The team going up against Tampa.
Vasilevsky's in prime form. They would think that if the subject of goaltending comes up tonight, and it'll probably be a lot about him and a lot about Skinner and which direction they take each one of their teams.
Okay, I'm going to have to coach Brendan live on the air. Click the Google Chrome. For those on YouTube, sorry, but yeah, you're not live. So there you go. Now rewind it and get to the start of the Hangout. Go about there. Yeah, go about there. And now press the computer. And to those listening onto the audio stream, you'll now have been, they won't hear this live. Like they'll have heard like basically the whole show. The reason the show started late is we had a little bit of an issue. You're about 4 minutes behind the YouTube video. To those on YouTube, you're well ahead of the audio stream. Congratulations. Give us a thumbs up button for that one.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button because now you're ahead of the audio stream by a ridiculous margin. Apologies for that. We're now all good, I believe. Fingers crossed. Knock on wood. I hope.
Careful.
That might be where a stud is.
Felt a little tough.
Yeah, well, that's but like the way you banged on that wall, I was like, that's probably a stud area or something.
Stiff. Yeah.
I don't
You're gonna
trust
have a new
this.
mark on the wall.
Or on my head.
Just don't ruin the Trey Ford signature. It's right above your head.
Oh.
Of all the signatures on there, that's in my top 3. That's actually number 1. We've got Eric Sabrowski, who's of the Cleveland Guardians. And
Don't forget the Heavy Hockey Network section here.
yeah, Reed is in with you guys, apparently.
Why wouldn't he want to be?
And then I do have Gavin Cobb. I'm just trying to think. We have like David Beard, I think, is in here. I really liked Gavin Cobb. He's in my top 5 too. There's a full distraction from the game, talking to the game tonight. But sorry, I just didn't want you to ruin the Trey Ford signature.
All right.
Although if you do, then it's like, well, I got to get Trey in again. That'd be a disappointment.
I mean, if that's the reason you got to get him in again, then
I actually would really love, I got to reach out to the Elks to get him and his brother one day.
oh, that'd be cool.
Just have a nice little conversation. Your thoughts going into tonight's game? Can the Oilers turn this around after their 2?
Well, if they need any motivation, I mean, that weekend I think, should be all the motivation they need. And if there's one player on that team that needs to have a big game tonight, it's Stuart Skinner, because the goaltending talk has not stopped here, at least for the last few weeks and months. And
I'm just going to quickly jump in. It's
Okay.
not here. Like I was throwing on TSN yesterday. And That's Hockey was on. It was Gino Reda and Cheryl Pounder, and they're talking about Oilers goaltending.
Yeah.
So it's reaching
everywhere.
across the
Yeah.
National Hockey League. Eyes are on Edmonton in terms of the goaltending as well.
yeah. And yeah, everything we hear from Stan Bowman is that there's nothing happening, but you hear the rebuttal too that, of course, he's going to say that. He's not going to show his cards, right? So I don't know. I hope Stuart Skinner can, if he could get a shutout tonight and the Oilers come back in a big way, that would be an amazing story.
But you know that doesn't shut up the conversation of a goaltending,
so he
right?
wins one game.
That's the conversation won't be over at the very least.
No,
on
but
that
it
one.
will help at least. It'll silence it for a day.
You're right. On the story Frank Saravalli De La Face-Off had with Stan Bowman, and Bowman says they're not going for goaltending. You have to say that as the general manager. Of
course you do.
Especially of the position when there's only 2 guys. Like you could sit there and say we would like to get some defensive depth.
Yeah.
That can mean any sorts of things. That's not impactful of the group. You could say that when you have 12 forwards, we want to go just bolster our forward group.
Yeah.
When there's only 2 goalies, if you sit there and be like, yeah, we need to go get a goalie, one of those goalies is going, it's one of us or both of us that they're not happy with.
Sends a poor message.
Yes. And to the rest of the hockey, it's like, oh, Edmonton needs a goalie. Huh.
Lowers your
Interesting.
value.
You guys are in a cup win right now? You guys need to go win right now? Interesting. Okay. You want
that
our
won't cost you.
goalie. Oh, yeah. Okay. And like a lot of teams out there aren't wanting to do those favors.
No. Well, I remember a few years back too, Ken Holland, when he would always say he's not trying to move Mikko Koskinen or anything like that. But that day they almost got Darcy Kemper, but lost out to Colorado. Like there was a deal in place that would have sent Koskinen to Buffalo, I think. So GMs are always saying that. Like he was saying in his press conference that day, oh no, I'm not making any goalie trades or anything like that. But he was working on one that day.
Okay. I got to ask, where are you guys standing in the conversation when it comes to Oilers goaltending in advance of the trade deadline next Friday?
The fan base knows that we can't go 82-0, right? Like we're going to lose some games, guys, right? Like that happens in hockey, right?
It's not supposed to for this team.
Really? No.
Not
You just
for
go
this
82-0 every time.
What is the best record? It was the Bruins a couple years ago, was it not?
I'd say
Or
like
that's points.
That was 06 Red Wings.
Best NHL season record.
I think it was when we upset them in the first round in 06. Detroit had 9 losses that year or something.
Well, most wins in a season was the Bruins from a couple years ago.
Right.
And that was 65 wins. They were 65-12.
Check 05, 06 Red Wings.
They had 58 wins. They had 124 points. Those Bruins had 135 points. So, but it's 12 losses is the greatest season
Right.
in National Hockey League history.
It's just impossible to win every game. And my opinion of the goaltending in particular is I mean, how long-winded do you want me to get in this moment, I guess? But I think goaltenders, I mean, look, I've been out there many times saying, I think as far as goaltenders go on earth, in the world, in any league, there are 5 that are elite. If you take Vasilevsky and Shesterkin and let's say Ottinger, Hellebuck, and throw another one in there if you want, Sorokin or something like that. Ultimately, those 5, I think, are the guys that will consistently win you games. Every year, they're going to win you 5 games or more that your team should not have won. Outside of that, I strongly feel that there's about 100 goalies that are all about the same. You see it with Swayman and Ullmark in Boston. Well, yeah, that team has a record season that you just brought up, Matthew. And like, what was their goaltending stats? Oh my God, these guys are Vezina caliber goaltenders. You know, Ullmark's been okay in Ottawa, and Swayman, well, whatever. I think ultimately a goaltender is very, very much a product of the situation that is in front of him. If you've got a good system, if you play defensive hockey, look at Brodeur in the 90s and 2000s, you will have amazing stats. You'll have a team that makes goaltending predictable. Skinner just needs to know where the shots are coming from, and a lot of the times he doesn't, and that's dictated by the players in front of you. Basketball has 6 players. You know, the NFL, the offense and defense are never on the field at the same time. I truly feel hockey is the biggest team sport in all of the pro sports. Mm-hmm. So to continue to just blame one guy, or Nurse was the whipping boy, then Bouchard's the whipping boy, now Skinner's the whipping boy. Why? I just don't get it. We play 82 games. We're in 6th place. The team will be just fine. They are a good team that's figured out how to turn it on when they need to. And right now is not when they need to turn it on. It's coming. Down the stretch is coming. And I think we don't need to panic until this is happening in the last 10 games of the season.
I would like to see the Oilers get a 1B for Stuart Skinner. I don't want Stuart Skinner to go anywhere. I'd be more comfortable with some depth, whether it's a cheaper guy, like, I don't know, I've heard Jonathan Quick's names mentioned, something like that, someone with Stanley Cup experience. He's got Stanley Cups under his belt. I don't know if he's going to make a massive difference, but if you need him to play a couple games here or there, he could be the difference in the Stanley Cup playoffs. We saw Calvin Pickard step in for a couple games last year in the playoffs, and he played well. He went 1-1, basically helped the Oilers in that series. And I have a ton of faith in Stuart Skinner. I think if we trade him, it'll be just another huge mistake. Devin Dubnyk 2.0, if you will. And I think Skinner is a future goaltender for this team, but maybe he had too much thrust upon him too quickly. Like, we all know the story. Jack Campbell was supposed to be the number 1, and Stuart Skinner was supposed to slowly take over the number 1 spot, but Campbell struggled. Skinner got thrust into it, and for the most part, he's played pretty damn well. He took them to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals last year, so he's clearly struggling this year. Not going to deny that. Not going to say he's been playing perfect, which is why I'd be open to getting a backup option there if Skinner needs to be spelled off for a few games, but I don't want to trade Skinner, and I don't think John Gibson is the answer. Gibson's playing really well right now, but that contract can turn really bad for you real fast if you're stuck with him as your number 1 next year, because you're probably going to have to move Skinner to get John Gibson to make the money work. Maybe a guy like Karel Vejmelka out of Utah, if Utah is willing to give him up, is someone that might work, but I'd be more open to someone like a depth goalie, like a number 2, number 3 guy.
Vermelkov's part of the all-decade team of Utah. Why would they try to get rid of him, though? He made their all-decade team. He had such an incredible 4 months that he's on their all-decade team.
Okay, never mind. It was a stupid suggestion.
I would love to see Vejmelka on another team, to be honest. He's never been on a team that had a, he's always been, it seems like that goalie that's above expected save percentage. He's, had decent stats even when Arizona wasn't a good team. But this whole John Gibson talk, honestly, drives me crazy. It just doesn't make, it makes about as much sense as me entering a hair growing contest. Like, it's the Campbell mistake all over again. It's like, oh, he's been hot for a little while. Let's bring in this guy that's got some NHL experience. And
With Gibson, he's been a solid goalie for a long time. At least Jack Campbell had a good half season with the Leafs.
Sure.
That turned into a 5-year contract with the Oilers. Gibson has been a really good goalie for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when Anaheim was good.
I'll just say that when it comes to Gibson, there's no guarantee that he's going to lead you to a Stanley Cup. Like there isn't that goalie out there.
He's in the 100 goalies underneath the top 5 that if he's in a good system with a good team in front of him, he'll be just fine. Just like Skinner, just like anybody else that we could stick into that spot other than a top 5 goalie in the world.
I will, when it comes to Skinner, like I wouldn't, it's too soon to get rid of him. It's too soon to think that this guy's not a Stanley Cup winning goalie
like
with this
3
team.
years in, right?
But I'm fully with you, Patrick. Like, I think I would have a lot of time for bolstering the depth of the team, which means if you can find an improvement on Cal Pickard, I would find that improvement on Cal Pickard if I was Stan Bowman. Last year, I think around, when did Pickard come in? It was in December, I think. Yeah, I think that's about when he got. But at that time, like the biggest issue that people had for this team going into the deadline, they said at the time, was this team needs to go get a goalie. As we got into the weeks leading into the trade deadline, that talk was gone because Pickard had shown he was a strong number 2, and Skinner was much better. And in the end, it worked in the playoffs too because Skinner was struggling. Pickard came in, solidified things.
Did his job.
Skinner got to come back in, and then Skinner was, really good the rest of the way. And I know people are like, well, look at his save percentages in game 1 and 2 against the Panthers, and if he had won one of those games, they would have won the cup. Yeah, well, they also didn't score a goal in game 1.
Team game.
You're not winning the Stanley Cup if you can't score a goal in game 1.
Team game.
And so even in the game 7, they scored 1 goal. Like, where's the scoring too to help out there? So he could have, I don't put the loss of the Stanley Cup on Stuart Skinner.
No.
The team fell down 0-3. The team came back together and clawed for game 7, and then they fell just short.
Skinner's just very much that type of goalie that plays like the team in front of him. He's a product of the way the team plays. He very rarely steals you a game. I can think of maybe 2 to 3 a year at most. And we're talking about a top 5 goalie steals you 5 to 10 games a year at most. So that's the difference. That's how thin this is. It's like this guy will save us 2 or 3 games a year, or win us 2 or 3 games a year, and this guy will win us 6 or 7. When it comes down to the playoffs, it's so tight anyways. I don't think it matters. If we're going to give up assets at the deadline, it can't be for goaltending, you guys. It can't be.
I still don't have time. I do have time for a Calvin Pickard upgrade, depending on what that is. Because I'll also say this. I don't know when it comes to the rest, like going for the defense. Who's the defender to bring in?
Klingberg.
But there isn't that.
Don't we have him already?
Yeah, well, that's the
there
scratch
isn't the
ticket, right?
natural players out there that I sit there and go that the Oilers need to go address with this player. If you can't go get that player, go get that player.
Luke Shen.
There's a lot of. I can go in, and I've said this before, and I'll say it with the disclaimer that I'll probably get in trouble with Oiler fans for this one. I'm okay if the Oilers not stand pat before next Friday, but make very small moves, because I understand that there might not be those players out there to get to improve this team, and they don't have the assets to also go and get bigger players to improve this team. That I could live with that largely. So if one of those things you can maybe go do in the end is an upgrade on Cal Pickard, I could live with that. The guy, he has wins this year, but he's not playing against and getting wins against playoff
teams.
His wins this year, Nashville at the start of the year, Detroit, especially at the start of the year, we're not good at Nashville, Utah, Columbus, Minnesota, San Jose, Seattle, Chicago, Minnesota. These 2 wins against Minnesota is really good for him there. Got Vancouver, Seattle, Chicago. It's not exactly murderer's row it's not Winnipeg in there. Again, Minnesota's 2 wins against Minnesota. Bravo. That's really well done. But it's not Vegas. It's not the LA Kings. It's not the Dallas Stars. It's not the Florida Panthers.
The Jets.
So I'm just not sold on him 100% that if they can go get... Honestly, the reason I would have time for Jonathan Quick, personally, I wonder if just for having him around Skinner to help him go through what it takes to get over that hump to actually win it. And from a mental aspect, I almost have full time. I don't even care about the hockey part at that point. Bringing in a Jonathan Quick to sit there mentally and be almost that advisor type thing, or the therapist for Stuart Skinner, to help get him through the hump as a guy who has gone and done it a couple of times.
Then let's hire him a therapist, Matty. Let's not give up assets to go get this person.
That therapist has never won a Stanley Cup as a goalie. a Jonathan Quick, like when you throw out that name, I would have a lot of time for Jonathan Quick because when Skinner is in this, if the Oilers get back to the Stanley Cup final and having that game, there's a guy that could sit there and knows what it's like. And how many people can Stuart Skinner actually go talk to that know what it's like to be in that moment?
Mm-hmm. Corey Perry, but without the pads on, I guess.
Very different.
Well, in that same regard, I wouldn't mind like getting like a Pat Maroon back here from Chicago. Like he's got some cups recently. He's been through the grind. Might not be like, he's not probably going to be a huge player for us, but he could be one of those huge guys in the locker room. And he does provide some toughness for that bottom of the lineup too. So he might be a guy to pick up at the trade deadline.
I'd like the Shen brothers.
Yeah.
Go get Luke and Braden.
What is Quick's salary?
I think it's 1 something.
Because could you still even keep?
Like,
and I know you don't like this when we were talking before the show, Dash, but could you find a way to keep Pickard, but also bring in Quick?
It doesn't make sense.
For me, a mental aspect, I would have a 1.28. You run shorthanded down the stretch, but you give...
Would the Rangers retain any of that? Make it even cheaper?
Maybe. And then you give Skinner someone really good to talk with throughout the playoffs. Like last year when he got sat, Tommy had the video of Sam Gagner speaking with Skinner.
Mm-hmm.
And it helped, clearly. I'm going to guess at least.
Well, there you go.
Imagine if a Jonathan Quick, though, was there this year to say, like, hey, look, this is, it's not easy getting that 16th win. But I've done this, and I know how it goes. That's where I actually do have time for a Jonathan Quick.
I give Sam Gagner can give him that pep talk, then so can Corey Perry, and so can...
But I think there's a difference of a guy
the difference
who actually...
of what? He went to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup.
Getting over that hump.
If that was Jonathan Quick instead of Sam Gagner, we'd have won the Cup?
No. I don't think so. I just think that maybe just having someone that you could relate to a little bit more helps. Like we talk about all the time when you're building teams, you got to get those people that have won Stanley Cups to help the team. Well, why can't that be the same for the goalies? Why can't it be the same for having that goalie who actually went and got the full 16 wins? To help explain the pressure, because the pressure a goalie has is much different than the other two positions of forward and defenseman.
Yeah, it really, at least a lot of it's mental.
So what you're saying is you want Jonathan Quick to take Schwartz's job. Fire Schwartz. That's what I'm hearing Maddie say.
You want to, it's more.
Tommy's not here to defend him today.
I'm not going after Schwartz. I have my opinions on that. But it's.
Brendan liked it.
Having an extra person there, I don't think hurts. And it is like if you could get, honestly, I would give up a 4th if you could. I don't know if the Rangers would do it for a 4th.
Do we have a 4th?
I don't even know what the Oilers have.
Yeah, I think we got one.
You got a 5th and a 6th.
To add that,
yeah, like Quick can't be that expensive to acquire.
I don't think he would be. And you want to know, he has the experience that. Who would you trust if you needed to go to a backup for a game? Quick or Pickard right now?
I don't know. Pickard.
Okay, fair enough. I could give you that one.
He's done it. I don't know.
Well,
what's Quick done this year? I guess I haven't really looked at his back.
I don't know this year, but he was in the playoffs just
and how the Rangers
a couple of years ago, and he was doing not too bad, and he'd step in. Who was he with? Was it Golden Knights a couple of years ago? Or?
Yeah, I mean, Quick was there for Shesterkin to tell him how to win 16 games in the playoffs. How far did the Rangers get?
Fair enough.
That doesn't go with our narrative. Can you?
Because your narrative doesn't make sense. Like, we can't give up assets for this, you guys.
Why is there always ever a narrative if you got to get guys who've won rings to help the team? It's the same narrative.
I get it. That's why we have Corey Perry.
So why not have another guy with a ring?
Sure. Make it a depth defenseman or a depth forward that we need, not a third string goalie. No. There's no.
I stand like, what if that goalie? What if Skinner he could connect with someone a little better? Why wouldn't you support the most important position on the ice a little bit more?
That is such a crapshoot, Matt. Such a crapshoot. You're grasping.
I'm not. I actually really liked it. Once Patrick threw Jonathan Quick, I'm down for it. If I heard the Oilers acquire Jonathan Quick, I'd have a lot of time for it, just for off the ice stuff, straight up.
Well, I think Stu needs it more this year than he did last year, because he's been struggling this year. So someone actually might come in to help him. Like if it wins you a Stanley Cup, it's worth giving up the assets for.
Well, Lotzi is screaming it at the top of his lungs right now. Nothing guarantees you a Stanley Cup.
No, but if you win, once you win, that's when you go, see, it worked.
Oh.
Even though we know it, like, we can't go back and prove that those exact moves on worked.
Corey Perry's a bridesmaid every single year, and we re-signed him. So maybe that just makes us a bridesmaid every year.
But he's been good, though.
No,
it was worth resigning.
But we haven't won the cup yet.
Well, it's only January or February.
And I think we'll be fine. I do. Like, the goaltending will be fine. I think this team will be fine. I think when, like, they talked about it this morning, has Connor McDavid flown too close to the sun? When you've had a taste of Stanley Cup finals and you've had a taste of Game 7, how hard is it to get up for these regular season games?
And I think we saw it a little bit at Four Nations, because like Game 1 against Sweden, McDavid was going.
Turned it on, flipped the switch.
And he didn't have a great finals. He scored a goal, obviously the goal. Mm-hmm. But he was toughing it out through that game. And he said afterwards he didn't have a great game himself. But I think part of that is like his line mates weren't exactly always the best. And he was trying to do it himself, I think, a little too much.
Mm-hmm.
But it was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there is something to that also. Like Jay came and asked me yesterday quickly. He says, what matters about the Oilers' regular season? I just looked at him and says, it's about getting to the playoffs as healthy as possible. Mm-hmm. I don't care. Like it's nothing else really fully matters to me.
Exactly.
It's okay. When game 82 is over, what's the injury report look like?
Mm-hmm.
If that's relatively clean, awesome. The Oilers were successful because now they're in the playoffs, and that's what matters. You know, this road trip, we're not going to look back on this road trip if the Oilers lose game 6 of the Western Conference Final and get knocked out of the playoffs. We're not going to be like talking about, well, you remember when they went 1-4 on that road trip out east or something?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We're not going to do that. We're going to talk about how they failed in that Western Conference Final against the Dallas Stars or something.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to point to.
Yeah.
That's what matters. So I wonder if, like, even for the players, it's the NHL version of load management with some of these guys.
Well, I think so. And, we talked a little bit about before the show started. I can take out my piece of paper if you want and talk about how they don't play well after breaks. Is that time? All right, it's time.
If you want to.
So I did a little bit of math. Math is hard.
Matt Iwanyk, Dash from Oilers Live, Patrick Phillips from also Heavy Hockey, Oilers Fanatics on YouTube as well. Brendan on the other side of the camera here on the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage on your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. Edmonton Sports Stock. Oilers Lightning tonight, 5:30, which means 4:30. GCLT's Old Stream pregame show. Tommy Hernan will get you covered right here on EST.
Do you do those radio resets in your sleep? That was really good. You're such a pro.
I don't do them enough.
You're such a pro.
I don't do them enough on the show. So apologies to the audio stream listeners. I know I should do it a little bit more for you guys.
All right. So I looked at 3 game segments after a break. So it's either the first 3 games to start the season or the first 3 games after an all-star break. Going back to all the way to the COVID season when they didn't have an all-star game.
So what's the bubble year, like all Canadian division?
Yeah. Okay. After that. So
starting
21, 22.
21, 22.
Yeah. Okay. So actually they start 21, 22, 3-0, which is kind of everything else. That goes against everything else that this says. All-star break after first 3 games, they went 0-3. First 3 games to start the season the next year was 1-2. First 3 after the all-star break that year was 1-1. Last year, they started off 1-2, and they were also 1-2 in the first 3 games after the All-Star break. And we're familiar that they started the year this year 0-3 and are now 0-2 and likely to be 0-3 after tonight. Sorry. So adding all that up, okay, after the All-Star break is even worse. And while I was adding this all up, I actually took into account what Connor McDavid has done in these games as well, because I think, the team flows through Connor's stick. So in those first 3 games to start seasons, the Oilers were 5-7. Connor had 6 points in those 12 games, and he was -7. Okay, now if you look at the 3 game chunks that are all after All-Star breaks for the last 4 years, the Oilers are 2-8-1. Connor had 10 points in those 11 games, and he's -14. -14 in 3 game chunks after the All-Star break. So all in all, you put all that together, 4 seasons, 8 different 3 game chunks, except this one's a 2 game because of tonight. 7, 15, and 1, where Connor had 16 points and was -21.
It tells me he uses the 3 game breaks after All-Star games as his break because he has to go to All-Star games.
Thank you. We'll be just fine. We will be just fine. You take all of those little chunks out, and the rest of the year is pretty much elite level hockey. And I think that's the team we have.
Well, the other part to this too, which you're bringing up here for me, is that good teams have bad stretches too.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Golden Knights had a bad stretch this season. Nice drop of the paper. I like that. It felt like a little bit of a mic drop. What do the Golden Knights do? They had that stretch where they were losing a bunch of hockey
We're
games.
like 2-9, I think, last time I was on here. We're 2-9 and at last 11. The Oilers were about to play the Knights when I came last time.
Well, everyone's in the same point range, right? So everyone's had to have had a stretch like this because no one's really stood out aside from Washington and Winnipeg, really.
Yep. I think yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, Winnipeg's had it right from the beginning this year. The thing is what I'd like to say about that, and I mean, we talked about it earlier before, the 135 points, 134 points that the Bruins had out in the first round, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe early second round, or they got swept in the second round.
That was first round.
Was it first round? The team that the Red Wings was the best team before that in 05-06, lost to the Oilers in the first round. Going through the league as even potentially a President's Trophy winning team, or not, just having the best record in the NHL or the second best record in the NHL doesn't generally serve you that well in the playoffs. There's a long, deep history of having to go through some sort of adversity in the year to know that I hate to use war analogies, but that you can go and get in the trenches with those guys and know that you'll come out of it okay.
Golden Knights this year, I just forgot the math here. From January 9th through to Feb 4, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 losses and 3 wins.
3-11 over
3-11, and there was 3 OT or shootout losses in there in that 11, but it was lost to Islanders, lost to the Rangers, beat Minnesota, lost to Nashville, lost to Carolina, lost to Chicago, lost to St. Louis in shootout, beat St. Louis, lost to Dallas, beat Florida, lost to Dallas in overtime, lost to Columbus in overtime, lost to the Rangers, lost to the Islanders, and they've won 3 of their last 4 as they get set to take on. They have the 27th, so in a couple of days they take on Chicago. They lost to Los Angeles on the 24th, which would have been yesterday. Mm-hmm. So they're 1-1 since Four Nation ended. But yeah, they went through a stretch there where look how bad they were. Good teams have bad stretches in the season. And right now for the Oilers, like you could talk about pre-Four Nations, they were petering off. Mm-hmm. But they were still winning most of those games. Like Colorado was a loss and stuff, but it wasn't like they were on a 4-game lose streak going into that. Yeah. And yeah, now they've lost these 2, but let's see what happens. This team loves having their backs up against the wall.
Love it. Mm-hmm. Love it.
They always do. This last few years, they love when their back's against the wall. This is when they actually are at their best.
It's literally how this team and leadership group is bred. They've been slow starters in games. Like remember how long Talbot used to let in the first shot of every game, right?
Then it was Koskinen.
Oh yeah, then it was Koskinen. Thank you. That's what I'm talking about. This team has been a slow starter. They've been I need my back up against the wall, or a gun to my head, if you will, in order to play the way they need to play.
I could see them going 0-4 on this road trip to start, and then they'll go beat, is it Carolina last?
Carolina's, yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
They'll go beat Carolina, come back to Edmonton, and start a winning streak. Because it'll be 0-4, and people will be panicking, like, 0-5 road trip is here. Like, people will already have declared an 0-5, and then that's when they'll turn things around, because they just love their backs up against the wall. The Edmonton Oilers, they are on the ice. We'll have to grab the lines, but there is some notes that I'll get to. Portions of this hour of the EST Hangout, they are brought to you by the Hive Product Marketing, official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk, promotional products that bring the buzz. Do check them out, thehiveproductmarketing.com. So this is according to Bob Stauffer, according to Chris Knobloch. Knobloch confirms that Stuart Skinner will start tonight. Troy Stetcher is in for John Klingberg. Matthias Janmark is in, and Jeff Skinner is out. So Skinner is scratched. Stetcher will be in. Now I need Tony Brar, because apparently Tony Brar has the lines. Twitter, you could be better for searching sometimes. The projected lines for tonight against Tampa. McDavid in between Arvidsson and Hyman. Draisaitl centering, put Colson and Savoy. Nugent-Hopkins in between Janmark and Brown. Henrique in between Kapanen and Perry. Defensively, Ekholm, Bouchard, Nurse, Stetcher, Kulak, and Emberson. Skinner getting the start. I'd go take Tony Brar's tweet. Just because it's a little bit more concise. Sorry, I'm talking to Brendan there for the YouTube people. He'll put up the lines momentarily for you so you can just see them. So again, McDavid between Arvidsson, Hyman, Draisaitl centering, put Colson and Savoy, Nuge between Janmark and Brown, Henrique between Kapanen and Perry, Ekholm, Bouchard, Nurse, Stetcher, Kulak, Emberson, and Skinner. So there you go. You're laughing over there, Patrick.
Well, didn't Jeff Skinner score last game? So just keeping tradition, he scores, then he's out of the game. He's out next game.
What did Jeff Skinner do?
He's not doing enough everything else,
I guess. But yeah,
for Chris Knobloch.
I mean, that's his MO, I guess. We got what we paid for.
Yeah, might as well bench the $3 million guy that scores.
I mean, we need him going for the playoffs. Yeah, you might as well healthy scratch him, for sure.
I'll rest him up.
Maybe he's getting traded.
No chance. I saw there was a tweet yesterday about would you do whatever you can to get him to waive? Why would Jeff Skinner waive? The one thing he hasn't done in his career is play in the playoffs.
He could be going to another playoff team.
Yeah, what playoff team is going to trade for him?
Yeah.
What playoff team is watching this right now? If the Oilers are trading him away, why would a playoff team want Jeff Skinner?
Chew on this. Taylor Hall for Jeff Skinner.
I don't know why the Hurricanes would do that.
They've had a taste of Taylor Hall. This is what he does to teams. Sorry.
That's
sorry.
If the Oilers want to get rid of Jeff Skinner, I don't see another playoff team going, I absolutely want him. So if I'm him, I'm not risking going to a team that might not make the playoffs. I'm not going to a bubble team. I want a team that's legit in the playoffs, and the Oilers are one of those teams because I want to play in the playoffs. I've never done that in my entire NHL career. I don't care about jobs post my career. I don't care about extra money. I want playoffs. Yeah, so why would I leave the Edmonton Oilers if I'm Jeff Skinner?
No, he's not going anywhere. And Stan Bowman did say, too, recently that he hasn't even asked him about waiving his no-trade clause or anything like that. So, I mean, that could have changed in the interim, but like you just said, it doesn't make any sense. It
would have to be the Jets. It'd have to be the Golden Knights. It would have to be the Panthers. It would have to be the Leafs. It would have to be the the Hurricanes for a Hall. It'd have to be one of those where okay, I'm going somewhere and I'm in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm not going to the Detroit Red Wings who are fighting maybe to get in. I'm not going to the Senators who I'm not going to the Flames or something. I want somewhere that I know for sure that once game 82 is over, I'm still playing hockey.
And if you're trading him, you want to move the full $3 million off your cap, right? And which of those teams can take a full $3 million at the deadline that for a player that hasn't been in the lineup regularly for the Oilers? So I don't know.
Why would Carolina trade Taylor Hall for Jeff Skinner? Because Taylor Hall has 1 assist in Carolina since he's been there, and Jeff Skinner has 3 goals and 2 assists in his last 7 games.
Yeah, and I don't think the
why do we want
wanted Taylor Hall.
Knobloch. Knobloch does. Oh, why would we want Taylor Hall? Because Knobloch doesn't want Skinner.
But does he want Taylor Hall?
But
that's the flip side to that. But maybe maybe Knobloch just isn't happy with him for the regular season and stuff. But sits there and is he's a great third option, 13th man for me. If I need him, I could throw him in.
Thanks, Jeff Jackson.
The $3 million 13th man.
Yeah, exactly.
I will throw out there that there will be a lot of heat on Jeff Jackson for what he did on July 1st.
Yeah, that has not worked out at all.
It hasn't, but hindsight 2020, a lot of people were praising him.
Right?
Yeah. It was one of those, he was the great, why are the Oilers going to go hire a general manager? Why do they need one? Jeff Jackson is the most brilliant hockey mind there ever was as of July 2nd of this year. Flip side to that will be, he's supposed to be smarter than everyone else, so that's part of that. But I will have that slight defense of Jeff Jackson there, where it's he got a lot right.
Yeah.
Well, in terms of in people's eyes that day, but we will see.
We still need a good GM. We still don't have one.
Why Murray, who's a Blackhawks fan, on yesterday?
I heard him.
Brought it and
couldn't
this was
agree
something
more.
Oiler fans brought this up. I don't take this lightly, and I'm not saying this to make any light of it, but if you take away the Kyle Beach situation, put that aside, just as a general manager, if you look at just hockey perspective, there was a lot of Oiler fans out there that were questioning the Stan Bowman, going, this guy isn't even that good of a GM. And then you add in the headache of everything that comes with it. This isn't worth the time. This guy's not worth the time. But we will see, because
last time he got handed a team that was up against the cap, he dismantled it and pretty much.
Well, This team needs to go win a Stanley Cup in the next 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I know other fans are screaming right now going, now, no, it's this year, but we're going to keep 3 years. This is a big trade deadline coming up for him. What are you going to go do?
Do you think our chances are better this year than they were last year going into the playoffs?
Yes.
You do? Why?
Because they got to the cup final. They know what it takes to get to a cup final. And I think that those little things that you can't define or quantify do matter. And I think part of it is like McDavid not having the greatest season that we're accustomed to of McDavid. His season, I think most players in hockey would still absolutely love. There is, I do believe, something of when's April here? I'll see you in April with my full Connor McDavid.
Can I counterpoint you?
Sure.
I do.
No, that's it. I don't want to have any counters.
We are
We're
just hanging over.
EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage. Lock Shop going to start early here. I don't want to hear I don't want any countering. Go ahead.
You're never coming on the show again.
Game 7 of the Stanley Cup, we aren't there without our penalty kill.
That's fair.
Where's our penalty kill now? Part of it's in San Jose, part of it's in Vancouver, part of it's in LA. The guys that got us to Game 7 that we rode on the backs of that penalty kill aren't there.
And the power play was pretty much perfect too.
Yeah, same
like special teams in general.
Yeah, and the same guys are still here for the power play, and it's not working.
I just Mike, the Michigan fan. Bowman won 3 Stanley Cups. If he handed the team, why did they fire Dale Talon? Dale Talon screwed up a contract. There was a big reason. That was one of the biggest reasons.
Yeah,
why
it was
Dale
like
Talon
the paperwork or something.
He screwed up paperwork, and they ended up having to pay someone extremely high, and he screwed up the cap situation because of that. Was it Bufflin?
It was whoever the restricted free agents were.
Yes, there was a big contractual screw up from Dale Talon, which ultimately led him to being dismissed.
Brendan's on it.
And then Stan Bowman took over the team, and that team was built for him largely. But you could also go like it was Panarin for Saad, those type of moves. But yeah, that's why Dale Talon was let go, was because there was it wasn't the team was poor in a sense that he screwed something up, and that was one of the reasons why they're contractually really had some issues. Sorry, that was a distraction there. The Oilers had a great power play. I'm going to start with power play and then get to your penalty, because I agree with your penalty kill, but Patrick brought power play there. It hasn't helped them in the playoffs. Like this team needs to win 5-on-5 to win a Stanley Cup. That's what we know. Penalty kill, I don't have a counter to that one. I truly don't. But
I feel like
in the playoffs last year, pretty much every time they got a power play, they almost scored.
Yeah, 100%.
So it did help them win a lot of games. I know obviously they have to do it 5-on-5, but just want to put that up.
Yeah, I don't know. And whether Bouchard can, Bouchard seems to be the odd. Where maybe it's McDavid's production, I guess, overall a little bit too. But like, what are the biggest differences we see in the power play that was the best power play in the entire universe for 3 years to what it is this year? And to me, like the biggest thing that I see different is the way Bouchard's playing, and it's his hesitation, and it's just the way that he walks the line now seems to be different. And I know we talked about this on Oilers Live, Patrick, but I really truly wonder how much Zach Hyman's injuries via Evan Bouchard has affected his confidence in firing the puck at the net as hard as he can. He got him in the pills once, and then shattered his nose with the other one. Right, every time he looked up to shoot, he'd see Hyman in that fish bubble in front of the net and think, oh. So I don't know if that's part of it, but again, yeah, going back to the penalty kill, that penalty kill isn't here anymore. I think their chances were better last year than they are this year, to be honest. Depending what they do at the trade deadline.
Depending what they do at the deadline, largely also depending what happens with other teams. You know, at the deadline, because I don't know what the Golden Knights are going to do with Shea Theodore. You know, in terms of how long is he going to be open? Like with Golden Knights, you just never
First game
know.
of the playoffs, probably.
Right, but or even if it's the last, like, are they going to go take advantage of his injury from the Four Nations? You know, are the Panthers going to go take advantage of a Matt Tkachuk injury? You know, at the deadline with things like that. What other? You know, that has opened things up for certain teams where they can now go do that. You know, the Panthers aren't worried about making the playoffs. They know they're in. Do you sit Tkachuk even longer to have him ready for? And it's also then, in a way, load management, have him ready for the playoffs, and then too, okay, we're going to load up our team because we can go do that. The Oilers have the ability to possibly go do that a little bit with Evander Kane and stuff. And in the years past, it was just the Golden Knights doing that. But how did the other teams load up? How does it look?
Tampa
And
Bay
what's your
before the
path?
Golden Knights.
Yeah, and what's your path to the playoffs? Like if the Oilers find a way to steal, I don't want to say that was a poor word, but if they take the Pacific, do they get the Flames?
Mm-hmm.
Do you start off with the Calgary Flames potentially or something? Like I don't mind that matchup.
No, I don't
if
mind
it's
that.
the Oilers, the LA Kings, is
Kings scare me more this year than they have any other year.
why?
They're more consistent, and
Okay.
I feel like, I don't know, part of me goes back to the Oilers and Stars of old, when it was just like every single year we were playing the Stars in the playoffs, and then there's just the one time that Edmonton beat Dallas, and I just feel like LA's time is coming for some reason.
It's the probability to me says
Yeah.
if they meet 4 times,
Yeah.
the odds say that the Kings are going to get 1.
Yeah.
Warren Fogle.
There you go. Their penalty kill.
But yeah, that's the only. I think they're better. Like the Kings are a good hockey team, but what we've seen this year when they play each other, the Oilers still can beat them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it would be
But
probably,
it's just that probability.
it'd probably be a 6 or 7 game series again.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd rather not see him in the first round, though.
Yeah.
I would.
I think getting first place is key.
I do too.
Is there a way to find penalty kill per game for the Oilers?
What do you mean penalty kill per game?
Like just a list of their penalty kill per game or something. I don't know if you can.
Oh, I see. Like,
Because I feel like for part of the season it got better.
oh, it did for sure.
And
There
now
was an
it's
improvement.
petered off again.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what's caused this petering off.
It's right around the time you joined Heavy Hockey, because I remember that we were talking about how
Interesting.
Mark Stewart had turned it around for the defense.
Maybe there should be a little bit of change with Heavy Hockey.
Oh, yeah? Their penalty kill's been great?
I'm just saying that the superstition stuff.
What superstition stuff?
He comes on the penalty kill drops.
Oh, I see.
Trying to blame me for
Now
it.
I get it. Yeah.
If I just hadn't joined heavy hockey, everything would be just fine. Stuart Skinner.
Penalty kill wise. Just penalty kill wise. Not anything
Only
else.
thing you affect.
We just said penalty kill.
Yeah. Stuart
I'm
Skinner.
not going to put everything on you, Patrick, here. Yeah, I don't
I'm
know.
only going to blame you for certain things
Yeah.
that don't
Well,
make sense.
I'm not crazy over here. Can't be everything.
Right.
Nothing's wrong. I just can't figure it out.
Zulu, Kings play hard, better structure, great on the ice. Smitty, the welder, this PK this year was really bad at the start of this year, then good, now it's bad again. Wheels, Farhat, the Oilers will bring back Evander Kane for the playoffs, and then they'll get fined for pulling off the Las Vegas. As I heard that Mark Stone might be going on LTIR like usual. I'm not sure if that's true or not.
For what?
That's where I think that's just maybe the joke of that.
Oh, okay. Four Nations.
Yeah, kind of.
Well,
Was it Gager that said he plays like a messy bed or something like that? Like it's just like nothing about it is neat or efficient.
well, he was on the
but-
ice anyway.
Yeah.
It's.
Gager's got some epic lines.
I'll just be intrigued when the trades start happening in the NHL, because in the past it hasn't been deadline day, and it
No.
hasn't even been
Deadline week.
it was almost 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Like-
this coming weekend probably.
I think the weekend we're going to start seeing we'll start getting this player isn't playing today for trade precautions. This player's not playing for trade precautions. This player's not playing for trade precautions.
Yeah.
And it's going to be who makes the first move, because once that first move comes, then it's other teams start. Okay, well we got to make our move and stuff. So
Rutherford kind of wrote the book on that, right? He'd go out and get his guy 2 weeks ahead of the deadline all the time, and then give him a little bit more time to gel with his team. That said, when's Vancouver making their next move? Or will they make another move? Maybe he's made his early move already, sending JT out.
I think if you're the Canucks, you want to see how that gels, how that goes now with one of those guys gone. Like, you're not trading Pettersson.
well, he's looked really good since they traded him.
I would.
Would you?
Yeah. I would never build a franchise that I expect to win multiple
No.
Stanley Cups
They need to
around
get
a
rid
guy
of-
named
yeah.
Petey.
They need to get rid of him now. If
You're just going
Vancouver.
after the nickname Petey.
Yeah, that's I'm stopping right there. Yeah. Huggy and Petey. That's their flippin' nicknames. You can't win a Stanley Cup around.
But
Huggy
if
and
you're the
Petey.
Canucks, you're not winning a cup this year.
No, or ever, because they have Huggy and Petey.
I would want to see what he can do next year with this team. If I'm Rutherford and Alvain.
I don't know. If there was another
doesn't
one and
his,
he was an identical twin to Pettersson, like maybe they could dominate again. But he's just got too much Sedin in him, I think. Like it's going to take him 10 years to be good. He needs his identical twin to produce. I don't know.
Well, on July
Sorry,
1st, doesn't his no trade clause or
Yeah.
something with his contract kick in, so it's going to be harder to trade him. So I think if they're going to move him, they want to move him before July 1st.
How do you get the draft?
Mm-hmm.
'Cause
Which makes
he
most
hasn't
sense.
looked any better since JT Miller got traded.
He's been okay. He's always been okay.
Well, for 11.6 million, you got to be better than okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
From a Canucks perspective, if I was a Canucks fan,
Like, I'm fine with him struggling as
Well,
an Oilers fan, but
Yeah.
you'd think as a Canucks fan.
they
you
looked
know.
so good last year. Now, I personally didn't think that was going to sustain coming into this year,
Mm-mm.
but they looked so good last year. I'm not blowing this entire team up.
No.
And if you're moving Miller, you're moving Pedersen, and you're blowing this thing up.
I mean, it's your 103-point guy from last year.
And that's where I would want to see what he could do next year.
Yeah.
I'd want to start a new season fresh, going, Miller's gone. Maybe just mentally they need the break from an off season. Come back and, okay, he's gone, dude. This is your team.
Mm-hmm.
Go do it. The Vancouver Canucks are yours.
Yeah, I don't know.
From an Oilers perspective, yeah, I think, well, either the struggles continue, you're happy, or, yeah, we trade him away. Let him blow this thing up because they'll be going down, and who knows what's going on with Demko.
That's a scare. Yeah. It's what a shame, honestly. Like,
He's got to be going, though. You can't sign Lankinen for $4.5 million for 5 years if you're keeping Demko.
I mean, it just shows you they don't trust his body.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to want Demko. I think I'd put Demko in the top 5 to 10 in the league easily if he was healthy.
What are you going to pay
Easily.
Demko if you're keeping him, if you're paying your backup $4.5 million? And does Lankinen want to be there to be the backup at $4.5 million?
Well, then let's go get Demko for the Oilers.
No chance.
I know I'm
I
being facetious, but like,
No, I know,
that's the only goalie that can make a difference.
But I will go to, and I confirmed with Gager. I remember when Demko got hurt last year. I think I was doing 2 guys at the time with him and Cass, and I brought up the news of the injury and where it was like 2 things, and immediately Gager's like, this could be like almost career basically. Like this, he might not be the same goalie or something. And what we're seeing this year of him not getting back, like I do worry about how much of that Demko we're going to see in the National Hockey League moving forward.
Yeah.
Just purely based on injuries. And I don't want that because he is a damn good goalie, and I don't care about the Canucks or anything like that. He's outstanding, and it'd be a shame if injuries are going to derail his career. But if I'm any other team, I'm not touching Thatcher Demko right now. I need to see that he could be healthy for more than a season. Like I'd want to see him healthy for a season and then some.
Yeah.
Before, if I was ever going to be like, yeah, I believe in him. So I think if you're the Canucks, you're hoping that, well, okay, that Demko does get back, and then you have a problem. You have to deal with goaltending again, which, Canucks and goaltending issues,
Yeah,
have
right.
to deal with that. It's just their history.
It's never happened.
But it's also, if Demko can't stay healthy, at least you have a great option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess Shilovs isn't the guy.
I guess not.
He looked so good last year for that brief period of time.
Any goalie can catch lightning in a bottle.
It's the Canucks and the Preds, though. I'll always give credit. They find goalies.
It's true. Yeah, Preds for sure. I think goes a lot back to Mitch Korn, but
They're always, it just seems like they lost this goalie. Oh, look, they have another goalie sitting here.
it's like saying Sean Burke always finds good goalies. Sean Burke makes good goalies.
He's a guy I'd like to get.
Mitch Korn makes
he
good
was
goalies
sitting
in
out
Nashville.
there for a period of time when no one had hired Sean Burke, and it made no sense to me. And I think one of the stories was Burke wanted to be a GM, and no one was doing that. But
You know
it's
what?
like,
We can get Sean Burke instead of Jonathan Quick.
Okay.
We'll do that.
Let's do that. That's good.
Yeah.
So we don't have to give up assets.
Just Cates' asset.
Yeah. I'm not worried about Cates' money.
I don't think he is either.
when you're that rich, you're always worried about your money.
That's true.
You always want a little bit more.
a little bit.
You always want just a little bit more.
It's true.
But if you get him, you make a lot more money. So.
Yeah, well, the Oilers in the playoffs makes Daryl and that organization a lot of money.
Exactly.
That's one thing we know for sure.
Yeah.
And look, it's going to be beautiful weather the entire playoffs because look, it's spring. It's already here.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I think I'm with you though. I think it's going to be quiet for the Oilers. I don't think there's going to be a big splash, or I think they've probably made the moves that they can make. They had a little bit of LTIR money sitting there. They bought a couple scratch tickets, Klingberg, and I think guys brought guys in to try to see what they can do. And I don't know.
I think it's going to be 2 small moves, like a guy that had up front and probably a defenseman.
Kind of like I'm with you in the conspiracy theory on Evander Kane, but like the where there's smoke, there's fire, and I'm starting to feel like maybe he's going to come back. And if he comes back, then we have zero cap space for a trade. It's dollar in, dollar out. So,
and I don't see him coming back before this. Like, if Evander Kane comes back before the end of the regular season, it's like 2 games. And I think they'll figure a way to make that work or something. But I think for the most part, I don't think Evander Kane would do that, truthfully.
I do think Evander Kane would do that.
Because then...
When has Evander Kane been
everybody
about anything
so
but himself?
Pissed at him for that, though. If
who cares? I think they're already pissed at him.
But that's where, like, I feel like we don't know the full relationship behind the scene, and we know some things to others, and Kane exactly aren't maybe seeing full eye to eye. But if you're Evander Kane, I would think you still want to go win a Stanley Cup. If you're Evander Kane, I would think you want to go play in the playoffs. And if you come and do something like that, like if you're the Edmonton Oilers, you might sit there and be like, if you come back early, you're not playing in the playoffs. We're healthy scratchy. We don't have to play you in the playoffs. Our team got here without you. We're going to play without you. So do you want to do what's right for this team, which is come back and start playing game 1 of the playoffs? Or do you need to come in on game 81? And there's going to be a little bit of that head. And I just don't, and because it's also then the players in the locker room could be sitting there being going like, you're now back, like, piss off, dude.
But by coming back, he essentially blocks a trade, in which case that might be the guy they bring in to take his spot. If they're looking at a depth winger that's going to play bottom 6 wing, and that's what we bring in, that probably takes.
But they're not going to healthy scratch him if they trade for someone. He's not the first healthy scratch.
No.
So if you're Evander Kane, we know Evander Kane has confidence. We know Evander Kane believes very much in Evander Kane. I would think he would almost look at that and be like, yeah, you could bring that guy in, but I'm going to take his spot because I'm going to play better.
Yeah, that's what Evander Kane is all about, outworking people to try to get ahead. Yeah, exactly. Well said. No. Evander Kane's about the money.
But he's getting paid no matter what.
Sure, but he's got to set up his next contract.
And you're not doing that in games 81 or 82. You're setting up that next contract in the playoffs.
Maybe he thinks that if he can get 4 games in before the playoffs, that he has that much of a better playoffs, and then he gets paid.
But that's where if I'm the Oilers, I'm telling him, we're going to bench you in the playoffs. We're not playing you in the playoffs. We don't need you in the playoffs then. And what's going to happen to your next contract? That's where the Oilers are going to, I think, have the ability to play it hardball here, and that's why I don't believe Evander Kane will come back early, because even if he tries to, I think the Oilers have that trump card of, okay, well, you want to play in the playoffs? You're not getting it, dude.
It might be a trump card, but it's still dumb. I think you have to play Kane in the playoffs. He's the exact kind of player we need right now. Yeah. You know, like the thing we're lacking, he exudes in, and we're going to play hardball. And
if he's playing hardball, yeah. 100%.
Is he playing hardball? He just wants to get back and play hockey because that's his job and that's what he's paid to do. And
absolutely, but you also have to look at the whole global picture of the team. And if you're part of this team, the best thing for the team in general is to come back on game 1 of the playoffs, not game 81.
Yeah, Evander Kane, the team guy, right, Mike?
No. But that's Matty. Where I'm saying if you're the Oilers, you have to understand that if he's not going to do that, then you have to play the Evander Kane way. You can't just give in to him. If he's going to sit there, I'm coming back for this one, you can't just give in to him. Because the locker room's going to be pissed. And it's like, okay, so this guy plays hardball, screws us over, and now he's going to play in the playoffs with us too? We don't want this guy in this locker room. That's where the Oilers have to, like, yeah, you want him there, but the Oilers might have to make that tough choice and go, no, we're not going to play you then, dude. And that's where you force him into not playing until game 1 of the playoffs.
Sure, I get the concept, but then the Oilers are basically choosing which foot to blow off. Like, should I shoot myself in the right foot or should I shoot myself in the left foot?
Okay. As opposed to Evander Kane just shooting you in one of the foots and you don't get a choice.
Sure. I'd rather be surprised, I think, but whatever.
I'd rather lose my left foot over my right foot.
Yeah, me too.
I don't need Evander Kane to make that decision for me type thing. Yeah. I understand everything you're saying, Evander Kane not being the team guy. I get all of that, but I also think the people around Evander Kane are smart enough to know that his next contract comes from the playoffs, not from the end of the regular season. And I understand this team knows that if you become that bad of a teammate again, fully one, what team is going to go want you? There is a lot of those question marks that come here. And for him, for the next contract, even one of the best things you could do is not come back until the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And in the end, like
I do think that's what's going to happen.
Right, I believe it. Like, it doesn't impact the Oilers going into the trade deadline either, because if they don't know what Evander Kane's going to do, like they might still go do that. And then that's not till weeks later to what Evander Kane might do.
What is
And
he
you're
at
screwed either way or
60%
not.
right now or something? Who's out there? 60% skating? Like how far away is
I
he
have no
from
idea.
potentially being able to make a start?
Skating by himself still, like
Can he skate before the trade deadline? Can he play? Is he good enough to play before the trade deadline?
Probably not.
There's an angle there. Bring him back if he wants to come back. Maybe, maybe he plays good and you can trade him at the deadline.
I don't think he has that surgery at the time that he has that surgery. If he's not doing what's best for everyone involved in it, which is not being ready till the playoffs. He could have had that.
You think he would have had them both at the same time or right
earlier.
after one another? Or?
And then he would have been healthy he could have come back before deadline. Why, if Evander Kane's about Evander Kane fully and only, and he largely is, but why wouldn't he have that surgery earlier?
Yeah. Fair.
And Oilers will say, we didn't know that he was going to have that surgery. Absolutely, you're going to say that.
Of course they will.
It's the same as Stan Bowman saying, I'm not going to go trade for a goalie.
Has to say that.
You of course, because otherwise the NHL is going to be like, what?
Oh, you know you could come back early? Oh.
Yeah. Do you want to know what else I'm going to do too? I'm going to do this and this.
Yeah. then the NHL starts taking away the Oilers' second round picks, you know?
So that I could see somehow, I don't know, Kane trying to come back for maybe game 82, get one game before, and the Oilers will maneuver things to make one game work maybe. I think they'll be able to figure that out because all of a sudden, some player will be hurt for a single game.
Yep.
But I do think the Oilers have the ability to also play hardball here.
Yeah, I agree.
And they have to. Yeah, I agree.
And that may come at a cost of saying to Evander, you won't be here in the playoffs and a game of chicken, and who's going to blink first?
Yep. And like we talked about too, you can change 16 teams? You can put on a list?
As of March 1st, Evander Kane's no move clause moves to a no trade clause.
No trade clause, which means he could be sent to the minors.
He could be placed on waivers, I assume.
So is that a big coincidence that the Oilers are saying they're going to know what's happening with Evander Kane on March 1st, and that's the day his contract changes?
Is that what was said?
Yeah.
That they're going to get
they have news coming on March 1st.
That's what Stoff said on Oilers Now last night.
Well, then, yeah, that's...
Writing's on the wall.
Well, it's thrown out there. They even tell their NHL GMs, oh, yeah, he's going to be ready. You could come trade for him. He's open here if you need him.
Mm-hmm.
Something.
The list will have to go in, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I don't know.
I hated the signing when it first happened. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, me too.
Because I knew this was going to happen.
Yep.
That there was going to be some sort of issues between him and the team, and it was going to come in the window when the Oilers were Stanley Cup favorites.
Yep.
And it might derail part of this.
I literally remember you saying that. Yep.
And yet
5 years was too many or whatever that contract was.
It was he came in for the 1 year. I said I wouldn't sign him because you sign him it's once you have him for a period of time. That's when things are really going to get bad. And here we go. And we'll see what type of or even if there is a divorce, who knows what's fully going to come. Maybe he comes in the playoffs and he lights things up and he's the Conn Smythe winner.
Whoa. Easy. I thought you said you weren't crazy.
Did I say I'm not crazy?
I said,
I'm not that crazy, maybe I said.
Oh.
That is a little...
It's more accurate.
There's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Kooky.
Come on, people have seen me and talked to me for how long, and I've been on radio and stuff long enough. People know that there's a large part of crazy inside of me. This is the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage, Canada's storage experts, more than 2 decades of helping Canadians through life transition. Sentinel.ca to find a location nearest you. There's a bunch of them. If you're driving around, just keep an eye out, and you will notice how many Sentinel locations there are for you. So if you're looking for any storage needs, there's one right close to you. Buy Canadian storage provider, 75% off 12 weeks on 5x5 units. That will end this Friday. Matt, Dash, Patrick with you here. Brendan on the other side of the camera. Here in Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. We're live on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, tune in, iHeartRadio, YouTube. Thanks to those listening on podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. If you're listening on YouTube, give us that thumbs up. If you're on TuneIn, there's also a thumbs up thing there. Or for our station as a whole, give us one of those as well. Lock Shop coming up at 11. We've got 2 guys and a goalie. We've got EST Afternoons. We also got the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne, which will be interrupted at 4:30 for the GCL Diesel Oil Street pregame show, as we have the postgame show as well later tonight here on Edmonton Sports Talk, as we got you fully covered with everything going on. Oilers, Bolts later tonight. Just trying to, I think the Nasties are having there's a lot of goal
There's
talks
a lot going on there. Yeah, I love how they just have their own show going on.
Yeah, this one's
pretty
fully is
fantastic.
talking about Marty Milner. Patrick's bringing it. Love it. So there you go. Some love for Patrick over here.
Oh, lots of love for Patrick. Always.
Yeah, there's a lot of goalie talk still going on. We had our goalie talk, but not recently.
Even though Matty wants you fired, that's why we brought you into heavy hockey.
Well, for the rest of the season. Oh, I'm supposed to throw that one. Oh, that was awful.
I guess you're gonna have to be a July 1st signing again.
Yeah, we'll try it for a couple games just to see what happens with the penalty kill.
I want to rework my contract anyway.
Just go through some of these likes here and all that.
We'll triple your salary.
Okay. Do you guys have anything else you want to get to on the Oilers game for tonight quickly?
Predictions? I don't know.
I'm gonna go positive. 4-3.
4-3 Oilers?
4-3 Oilers.
Regulation?
Yeah.
Matthew Iwanyk does not make predictions.
I do not.
Brennan?
I was gonna say 4-3 too, but I'll go 5-3 with an empty netter.
5-3 empty netter Oilers?
Did you hear
Oilers.
Brendan on the audio, by the way? Because we switched the mic around to give him a mic when we have 3 people here. So if you didn't hear him, let us know.
I heard him.
Well, you're in the same room as him. Of course you did.
5-3 with the empty netter. I'm going to go the other way, I think. 5-3 Tampa.
Empty netter?
Yeah.
No, just 5-3.
Yeah.
I think a game will be played that will have minimum 60 minutes of regulation. There could be 5 minutes, upwards of 5 minutes of overtime, and potentially shootout between the Oilers and the Lightning.
So you're saying it's guaranteed to go to overtime?
I'm saying
That's a prediction.
I'm saying it's guaranteed to have 60 minutes of hockey tonight.
This guy really is crazy.
Yeah, I'm going out on a limb there. I'm really going out on a limb on that one. You're going to get anywhere between 60 and 65 minutes plus shootout, somewhere in the middle. Like that range is what you'll get tonight. It could be 60.
Tight range. I mean,
It could be
really.
61. It could be 65 minutes. 65 minutes plus the shootout. And the shootout, like, I don't even know how many shooters. Like, you're going to see at least 6 shooters. That's my prediction as well. You'll see at least 6. Actually, that's wrong. You'll see at least 5 shooters. Sorry. Wait, can you do 4? You could have 4. You might see at least 4 shooters. You got to bring it back. If the first
score
two
on the
team
first
misses
two,
and the
right?
other 2 teams score, yeah, it's a minimum of 4.
yeah.
Not 5 or 6. Oof. I almost went a little long there with those
Almost went a little-
predictions.
Now you are
Almost
crazy.
Really screwed up those predictions there.
There's a lot of crazy. You're right.
I have to put some money on this.
Maybe.
Can you bet on that?
No.
Call the boys at CoolNet. Make a part of Dusty's undies.
What is the? Did he do an undies today?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. St. Louis game.
I wonder if it's up.
Yeah, it is up. Plus 110.
Oh, you got Lakers Mavs up. Lakers minus 400 on the money line for today's game.
Is it really?
Oh,
On money line.
oh wait, yeah, Lakers
that
minus
can't be
400.
right. No.
I've got minus 400.
Bet it.
Let me no.
The Mavs.
Why would you bet
The
minus
Mavs.
400? Oh, not. Why would I bet against my Lakers?
They're the Lakers?
Yeah, they're my team. I don't bet against my. I hate betting on my team at all. The only one I do it with is
Little
Manchester United.
Little sprinkle?
Yeah, minus 400 plus 320 for the Mavericks.
Wow.
I bet always against United because they're going to blow it somehow. Or it seems that it helps whenever I do bet against them, it gets a draw or something. So,
Yeah. What are you watching tonight?
disaster. Well, there's an Oiler game tonight. So we'll watch the Oiler game.
Is it on before the basketball game?
That's at 8. So yeah, it
Oh,
should be
you can
done.
watch both then.
It should be done naturally. I haven't got into TGL.
No, not yet. I watched a little bit yesterday. It's interesting.
I've tried. Yesterday, threw it on for a brief period. I'm just like, I'm good.
Reminds me of curling. It's like 4 of them standing around talking about how this putt's going to fall. And I don't know. It's hard to get into. I agree. There needs more trash talk or something.
Well, when I couldn't watch it, was the competition. I didn't feel like there was enough competition. I felt it was too all-star gamey. And I don't need to see an all-star game every week. There's something else just off with it that I just can't get into. I think it's doing people that are watching are enjoying it. But
Yeah.
I think the numbers, when Tiger and Rory played each other, it was over 1 million people that tuned in.
How the ratings been
But
otherwise.
since it's been like 300,000 people in the States, I think for the last
A
few.
little bit drop.
And that's not like the CFL on TSN gets like anywhere, depending on the game, 350 and 600,000 people in a regular season.
Okay.
We're 8 times smaller of a population than the United States.
Yeah.
And we're pulling in more for a CFL than there.
Plus we had the Scotties.
I love this guy. Not a curler?
Not a curler. Absolutely not. My knees would hate me. I'm a curling fan. Yeah. I didn't get too close to the Scotties this time. I was just traveling for work, but it reminds me of sitting down on the couch with my dad and watching back in the day.
I'm just a hockey guy.
Just a hockey guy.
Yeah, pretty much. I'll watch the occasional thing, but yeah.
Holman was amazing this week. What else would I watch tonight, by the way? Because you're saying, there's not we're in that period where, again, there's not a lot happening.
Yeah.
This is like catch up on your TV shows period too.
It really
is.
is.
The other game ends at 8. If there's that show you haven't been watching yet, I know Reacher's out for people that like Reacher.
Like catch up on the floor.
I like White Lotus. I'm fully cut up on that always. But if you're into White Lotus, you could get like that. This is that season because once, a couple weeks from now, you're locked in.
Mm-hmm.
You're locked in with like
every
NHL playoffs and all of that. Even just the lead up going into following the NHL playoffs races. Like that was always fun at the deadline is then getting into the full playoff races. And what are we going to have right now with the NHL races that we're going to have? Because there's still a lot of hockey left. So maybe this is a little too soon to discuss it. But you're going to have the race for the top of the Atlantic. Florida point back of the Leafs. The Lightning are only 4 points back of the Leafs. Yeah. Washington's got the Metro locked up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The playoff race for the wild card spots, though, Detroit 64, Ottawa 62, Columbus 62, Boston 61, Rangers 60. I will throw the Flyers, Canadiens for some, Islanders at 57. So not too far back. Pittsburgh at 55.
Pittsburgh's
too many teams to have to jump.
No.
Buffalo at 51. Just
poor Sabres fans.
Yeah. I think Winnipeg, a 9-point lead for the Central, I feel is pretty comfortable. They'd have to go on a little bit of a
They'd have to dump 10 and
I think so. I think that one's good. The Pacific, between Vegas, Edmonton, and LA, right there.
Yeah.
Colorado at 68 points. They got 6-point lead on the Flames for the top wildcard spot.
Mm-hmm.
Canucks in the second spot. So I think they're good. But then you've got Canucks 63, Flames 62, Utah 59, St. Louis 58, Anaheim at 57, maybe a little reaching. So we've got one wild card race in the West.
St. Louis is reaching too.
You've got Pacific, 2 wild cards in the East and the Atlantic. 5 good playoff races, I think, as we're heading into the deadline.
Yeah, because St. Louis might be dumping too, because there's been talk about maybe moving Binnington and Parayko and stuff. So I don't think
Braden Shen.
Yeah, I don't think St. Louis is going to get any better.
I agree.
Although when Nashville traded off 2 years ago,
yeah,
they went on that winning streak.
That's
you remember
true.
that?
Yeah.
Like everyone's like, oh, they're straight off, and this team might make the playoffs here or something.
Ekholm was a problem apparently.
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy. So maybe St. Louis is going to look at like we're going to do that now. I'd be stunned if they do trade Binnington.
Think so?
Yeah, I'd be surprised.
Well, you're saying like his value is never going to be higher than it is right now.
100%.
But if you're going to try to rebuild your team, like you still always need a goalie.
Don't they have a couple? I thought they had a guy coming. I don't know their system well enough, but
I'd rather have that guy come up and show that he's taken, and then I have 2 goalies to trade
fair enough
that are playing well, than get one and then hope that the guy pans out type thing. I don't fully like it.
Can I borrow that gold marker?
You could borrow that gold marker.
Hi, Eric.
Thank you. Hello.
Eric's here borrowing a gold marker.
Goodbye, Eric.
There you go. Awesome. I think somebody's buying a hoodie and he wants some signatures. I think that's what's going on there.
You better get out there and sign then.
No one wants my signature. I don't like signing with Sharpies too.
Why?
On like clothing. I'm nervous because I know I'm going to mess it up somehow or something. Like you have to stretch it. I'm like, I'm going to ruin this for this person. Like, one, you probably don't even really want my signature. And now I'm going to ruin this piece of merch for you. Like,
just put it like inside the hood.
Portions of this hour of the EST Hangout there brought to you by Lloydset Insurance Brokers, one of Alberta's top insurance brokerages, trusted by many. Lloydset.com. If you're looking for a business insurance, be sure to connect with Kevin Bondel, a fellow Nasty. They were the proud presenting sponsor of the EST Funspiel from a couple of weekends ago. That's who we go with and stuff. So it's they are great. Heavy Hockey Showdown coming up March 15th. Downtown Community Rink. Heavy Hockey taking on Team Edmonton Sports Talk. At the very top, we're raising funds for SACE, the Sexual Assault Center of Edmonton. What was it? We passed, was it 13,000?
I think it was 13,000. Yeah.
Was it 13,000 yesterday? We're past 13,000. The goal is 50,000. Last year came just short of the 50,000 goal.
Correct.
But EdmontonSportsTalk.com, very top, it has HH Showdown. It takes you to our fundraising pages. We're raising funds. But you also from there, if you click, there's a spot, click Team Heavy Hockey Showdown. There's a bunch of people you can go donate to. You can donate to Dash here.
Patrick's got one too. Yeah.
Patrick, Corey B's doing very well. Savage is on there. Cash is on there. Bryce, the Sparky from the Combine crew's on there. So a lot of various people you could pick and choose or donate, just sprinkle it across.
Or if you like winners or leaders, you could donate to me because I'm the leading fundraiser so far. But, whatever. You like patting a guy's lead? Just saying.
No.
Just saying.
People like the underdog.
Absolutely, Patrick. See, he knows. A great cause that also funds raising funds for. Stay tuned. March 14th at Boston Pizza Westgate. Oilers are playing the Islanders, I believe, that night. There'll be a bit of a watch party with things going on for that in the lead up. And then on the 15th, come join us downtown Community Rink and cheer on Team Edmonton Sports Talk as we take on Team Heavy Hockey.
We'd be just fine to play the role of the heel as long as we got a crowd there. Absolutely, that would be fine. And
I've rebuilt the team slightly, so
maybe I'll use this as the platform to make an official announcement on the Heavy Hockey Showdown. But
please,
I will be moving from the skates to the Pine, but not to sit on it, to stand on it, and be coaching Team Heavy Hockey this year.
Do you know why you're doing that?
Do I know why I'm coaching? Because my shoulder would scream at me if I played.
No, because you're scared of my prowess as an assistant head coach.
Oh, I see. That's the way we're going to play it. All right. Yeah.
Afraid of how good I am.
The losing team was so well coached last year that it has struck in fear
It wasn't the coaching team's fault. It was not Coach Pete's fault. It wasn't my fault. It wasn't trainer Eric's fault. And it wasn't goalie coach Fergie's prostate's fault.
Yeah.
Our team failed us.
Yeah. Putting your two best players on defense where they've never played before. Smart coaching. And you didn't score enough goals.
Yeah. And we've improved this year. Oh, don't click anything. Like straight up, I got to see something. When that happens, if we click something, the stream goes down. We're having our program's frozen right now. So I want to see what happens here.
Patrick, this is likely that we're about to start talking about our...
Oh, it's back. It's back. We're good.
Our rivalry here. And all of a sudden, Mr. Iwanyk is very distracted and doesn't want to talk about it again.
Well, we ran out of time for today.
We've improved the team. I've added someone on the blue line and my brother. I think he's playing blue line. He'll feed the guys. I could send Dusty and Tommy up now.
Someone on the blue line?
My brother.
Oh, okay.
He has all the...
I thought you said someone and your brother. So
no, someone. I think like my brother.
Okay. I hope he plays hockey better than you coach.
Oh, he's much more athletic than me. So there's that at least.
That wouldn't take much.
Yeah, but he got it all, like all the athleticism. That's why I've got nothing. He's got it all. So he's actually good.
He can golf.
But it's one of those things like don't worry. Bring it.
Bring it. Like our sponsors have. You know what? Can I give a few shout outs?
Please.
Just want to make mention of a couple of sponsors that have been extremely generous and helping us sponsor the ice as well as some of the jerseys and the ref jerseys. So Spencer over at Yates Whitaker Accounting. Thank you very much. Michael from Turtle Island Technology Solutions, which is a fantastic name, but an even better acronym. Ewell, my boy Dave Carson over at Electrical Wholesalers, and Travis over at EB Horseman Electrical Distributor as well. Big thanks to those guys for helping us out on the cost side of things and cover some of the fun things that will be at the showdown, like Hunter the mascot. Rob Clark will be there to sing the anthem. Of course, we're going to pack the house even more than we always have with the nasties and the big fans. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it and taking the trophy home versus you for the second straight year.
That's not happening, dude. Just understand that. Two things, just the heads up coming in the coming weeks. There will be two auctions done. Our morning show will be doing them. One will be the chance to be the head coach of Team Edmonton Sports Talk. That's why I said I'm an assistant. I might not even be your assistant. You have the right to not have me as your assistant. I totally understand. You can't just saddle a head coach with their staff. They gotta, they might demote me to other spots.
Jay Woodcroft's available.
All the money from that auction will go directly to SACE. There'll be with that a spot on the Hangout and some Edmonton Sports Talk merch. Also, if you want to go against Team Edmonton Sports Talk, you're tired of Dusty, you're tired of Tommy, you're going, Matt, shut the bleep up.
Maybe you just want to really beat Matt badly.
We'll do a second auction to be. Are they your assistant?
No, they will be the coach, and I will be their assistant. Same thing. If we get a heavy hockey coach and they want to demote
a second
me,
one, you could coach against it. You could stand on the bench with Dash, going up against Team Edmonton Sports Talk. It's your chance to possibly have the ability to go against Team Edmonton Sports Talk, or you can help sabotage Team Heavy Hockey for Edmonton Sports Talk and be our secret agent. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Something about being savage or something?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't want any part of Savage this year. I'll tell you that for free.
Stay tuned for that, though. And it is fun. I know a couple of the nasties that were in the attendance last year. They're coming back. VR, Big Uke wasn't there last year. I think he's going to be showing up. So we have some people coming out, which will be, it was great last year. It was a lot of fun.
Come out on Friday to the watch party, too. Also a ton of fun. Yes. We'll have big 50-50 going. We'll have... not silent auction this year, but a raffle. We're putting basically all of the prizes into a couple of big buckets, so the prizes will be better than ever.
EdmontonSportsTalk.com, very top. It says HH Showdown. Or if you're on the mobile, just click the 3 lines, the menu there, and HH Showdown will come up, and it'll take you straight to our page. And there's on YouTube at the very least, there's 159 people watching right now. If everyone donated $5 right now, type thing.
Massive. There's another $1,000 and we'd be on our way to 14-15. It's just so important. It's really, really important. Like a nonprofit like SACE, they're going to run off of grants and government money for the most part. I mean, that's just how places like that work. But the fundraising gives them unrestricted ability to do whatever they want with that money. If they're getting government grants and they're getting money from things like that, often that's tied to, you must use this money this way. If we raise 50,000 this year and we get to our goal, we will be 50% of the fundraising that SACE gets for the entire year. So not only will we be the premier event, which we already are, SACE's premier fundraising event, in big thanks to the Edmonton Sports Talk guys for getting involved last year and really helping us take it to the next level. That money that is fundraised is really like it just becomes unrestricted assets for them that they can do almost anything with. And we've talked about it on here before, but $97 for every $97 raised, it gets somebody an hour of counseling. Wait lists have been pushed up to close to a year, over a year sometimes. Every hour of counseling that we can get out of that, 50,000 divided by 97 helps decrease that wait list pretty considerably. What we're doing there makes a difference. So I guess just help us make a difference.
And I do want to give a shout out because there's the Oilers women that threw on an event for
Oilers
SACE.
Girls Night. Yeah.
Oilers Girls Night. And they canceled it initially.
It's back on.
Because there wasn't going to be a good Oiler night, but they're putting it back on. I'm just trying to see if I can find some info. They're going to try to do it around the PWHL night. I don't think they've announced a date for that, but it was very exciting to see that is going to still happen this year.
And we would often carry our 50-50 over into their event. So you have a month to build. And as we all know, Edmonton loves a 50-50.
Or a meat draw.
Yeah, that's true.
We love 50-50s or meat draws.
That's true. Maybe we'll give away a quarter cow too. We'll see.
I haven't been in a good meat draw in a while. Actually, that was
Corey the Butcher. Wink,
the
wink,
Bear,
nudge, nudge.
a few years ago. Did they do it for the Legion? I think they did it because there was one Legion. I think maybe it's the Kingsway Legion that was about to close.
Yeah. I remember that actually.
And so they did the city, like they did a meat draw on air, and it sold out. That they had to do a second one.
Is that right?
And just Edmonton loves a good meat draw.
Yeah.
I just don't have the space right now. If I had a house, I would do it because I'd have a deep freezer and I'd easily get into any meat draw I could get into. That's just like my meat. I don't know. I have nothing else to say
Clip
on that.
Thumbs up.
Don't tell my intern what to do here. Don't clip that.
Too late. You clearly. Oh no.
You're suggesting what to do.
And if you tell him what to do, we wouldn't have audio issues at the beginning of the show.
If I tell him what to do, we wouldn't.
It's not
have
his
it?
fault.
How's it my
Extreme,
fault? He's
extreme
setting it up.
ownership.
He's setting it up.
No.
No, I'm not one of those
no,
people that takes responsibility. Screw that. The intern screwed up. How dare he? How dare he not listen to me?
Been absolutely perfect since I've been here. That's all I'm saying.
Him?
Mm-hmm.
Pff, you haven't seen him.
Looking right at him.
Brendan's been doing a great job. Legitimately, he's been fantastic. So, and he's already passed. I've told the story on the Hangout before, but I beat Tetris, so he passed. It's only
Matthew's
beat
also
this
tripling
level.
your salary. Congratulations.
Yeah, you go from 0 to 0.
It's like I'm tripling his.
You're not supposed to. You're supposed to get rid of him for now, for the PK.
For the
On
PK.
July 1st.
All
For the PK, it's all for the. And then bring
We
on
might have to test this. I don't know.
bring on Datrick Phillips for the rest of the season. Like bring on someone else, but Patrick can't be on anymore.
Datrick Dillips.
What is this, Surveyor Brett? No,
Oh,
you go away. Maddie already has a bench minor to start the game. I didn't do anything.
I like that.
I didn't do anything.
You just did it.
This isn't the game.
You already got the penalty. Bravo, Surveyor Brett. Bravo.
Oh yeah, paying off the refs here. Probably.
Bravo.
That's what heavy hockey does.
Wink,
Yeah, you
wink,
wanna know
nudge,
something?
nudge.
I'll say this.
We got our own secret weapons.
I don't need to be part of the refs. Yeah, heavy hockey and the refs going against us. We're just like the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, your brother will be great
No
on
one gets the
defense when
calls.
he's serving your bench miners.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
I'll dress up for the game just to serve the bench miners. I'll just stand on the bench the entire game, and then whenever there's a penalty at the bench miner, I'll go, okay, fine, I'll go do it. Show me where I'm on the roster, huh, Brett? What do you think about that, Brett?
Eric's calling you a silly goose, and I agree.
The official drink of the EST Hangout is the Finnish Long Drink. Legend of 1952, a drink unlike any other sparkling refreshment, real liquor, longdrink.com/Canada. Is where you can go enter your postal code and to find a liquor store and establishment nearest you with the long drink in traditional or the sugar-free traditional. Also, down at Rogers Place, they have a deal with OEG, so you can grab it there. So when the Oilers return next week, you can go grab it when you're down, cheering on your Edmonton Oilers. It's been a while since people here got to watch the Oilers in person, and is coming closer. Mike, the Michigan fan, a ref already on a power trip. Shocking. I know, right, Mike? Yeah, give Brett just an ounce, a smidge of power, and he's going to make it a big thing.
Game manager.
Yeah, for you guys. Give heavy hockey whatever they want.
Maybe.
The only thing I ask of Surveyor Brett, just don't be Tim Peel. No one wants to be Tim Peel.
Nobody is Tim Peel.
Corey B in the Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999. I'm $30 away from 1,000. Good for you, Corey B.
Mm-hmm.
What are you at?
2,100, 2,000
Damn it.
plus some corporate sponsorship.
We're definitely not giving to you. Give it to Corey B. Give it to Corey B. We're going to transfer all funds to Corey B on that one.
They all go to a good spot.
Yeah, they all go to the same spot. But
Did I swear?
Did you swear? When did you swear?
I don't know. Think of the kids.
Oh,
you
I think
said.
silly goose.
Oh, potty mouth.
Mm-hmm. Go take a timeout.
Think
about what you've done.
I might have to go stand in the corner, but don't mess up the Trey Ford signature.
Yeah.
No banging your head on the wall.
Well, that's important if you just have to hit the stud you're for the wood. That's why I always go across and all of that. Lakers, Mavs tonight. This is exciting. I don't know how much you're excited. You're a hockey guy.
I'm excited to go bet on the Mavs, I think.
Do you follow a lot of basketball?
Yeah, I follow it for sure. Like my brother-in-law is a massive fan, and he's always telling me what's going on in his pool. And
Because you're Celtics. Anything great? I'm just trying to remember.
I don't necessarily have a super passionate team. Like I really enjoyed watching Steph Curry. So like I'd say I'm a Golden State fan probably if I was cheering for somebody. But I'm more of a, for some reason in basketball, I follow players.
That would make sense. Well, I honestly, if you are into the NBA, that might be the smartest thing to do because of how much movement there are. Now, Steph obviously isn't one of those cases. He's sure with Golden State.
Yeah.
But so many players and top players move. Like Kevin Durant is on his fourth team
Fourth or
right
fifth,
now.
Yeah.
LeBron's on his third team. You know, like Jimmy Butler's on his fourth team. if you look around, like there is a lot of moving. Kawhi's on his third team and stuff. That it does make sense to be like, well, why am I going to fall in love with this team if if you fall in love with the Warriors and it's Steph, well, maybe like again, he didn't do it, but he trades.
Yeah,
I will give credit for Dusty. Dusty doesn't have a team.
Right.
He's a Laker fan at the moment, strictly because LeBron is playing for the Lakers. But he was a Cavs fan. He was a Heat fan.
Imagine being a Mavericks fan and waking up to seeing Luka traded. Like, I mean, it's devastating.
And so I understand. Like, if there's one sport where I feel like it makes the most sense to just follow a player and not be a fan of a team, it is basketball with that movement. Like I am a Laker fan, but I've been a Laker fan since 2000, basically, and they will just be my team forever. I also am fortunate, a bandwagon fan, whatever. They have been good throughout my time. They've also been really bad throughout my time, but they'll find a way to get stars because it's the city of LA.
Yeah, of course, for sure. As long as LeBron's there as well, but
it's just one of those like. I'll forever get that, but I do understand if you get in the NBA that people will be like, well, I'm just going to follow players now.
The Lakers have been good lately. I mean, they're shooting up the West. We were talking a little bit before the show. What do you think their chances are? I mean, OKC looks great in the West, and
I really like their chances to get back to the Western Conference Final at the moment. They got there 2 years ago. I think they have a better coach. They're a better team now.
They got to get Luka figured out, though, right?
And it seemed like they go beat the Nuggets, and the Lakers don't have a good record against the Nuggets lately. Like there hasn't been good, and they took care of them on Saturday.
Yeah.
It was one of those games where I think Jamal Murray said afterwards, like anytime they were getting close, the Lakers just pulled away again. And that's not what the Lakers have done with the Nuggets. Was it last playoffs? Or was it the Western Conference Final 2 years ago? One of those, the Lakers had a bunch of leads in those series, and they always blew it.
Yeah.
Always blew it. But that wasn't the case. And I think they can, beat almost anyone in the West in a best of 7. The OKC Thunder
included. Yeah.
But the one advantage I will have to give the Lakers against anyone in the playoffs is when Luka took his team to a finals last year. He's that good of a player.
Yeah, he can drag them into the fight.
But so can LeBron, and they have 2 of those guys.
But the ball can only go through one of their hands ultimately, right?
Absolutely, but if LeBron's not feeling it, Luka is there. And if he's the chances are both of them not feeling it, I feel is lower.
Is that a game by game thing though, or is there do you have to put a different system in place now that Luke is there to have the offense go through Luka as opposed to going through LeBron? And
I'm going to trust JJ Redick's words, and he wants the ball to start going through Luka to start.
Right. I think that makes the most sense.
Absolutely, and it's also the future of the Lakers.
That's
like
right.
LeBron isn't the long-term future of the Los Angeles Lakers. He might still be there for 2-3 more years.
Yeah.
But Luka's 25. This guy should be there, hopefully, and they still got to go sign him. And I know there's some worry in LA that maybe he won't sign, but part of that might come down. He wants to know that it's his team. But if he signs, he should be there for 15 years or something. This is his team. This is his chance to make his stamp on the Lakers' history. And I think if he's not feeling it to start a game, it's nice knowing LeBron could take over.
Yeah,
as the backup.
Yeah,
right.
Of course.
And that's
can the Lakers do it without the outside shooting?
Yeah, I they're to me right now they're title contenders, and I think they should be there. Outside, like OKC is the only contender. I don't think anything that is weakness for the Lakers. I think all teams have some sort of weakness.
Yeah, no, fair. That's true.
That they'll have that figured out.
In the new NBA, where it's all about the 3-pointer and your outside shooting is maybe the weak part of your team. I mean, Luka's their best 3-point shooter now, and he hasn't been shooting well since he got there, which I fully expect to turn around, but. Unless JJ Redick wants to start tossing balls again.
JJ Redick was my first player from Duke I absolutely loved.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a fun college
player. And I loved following him, his career. And I always actually did wish he was a Laker. Yeah. I always wanted him, and he was with the Clippers and stuff. And then
I thought he'd be a better NBA player, to be honest. Like I thought he might reach that Steph Curry kind of heights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a Duke fan, Maddie?
Yes. Don't laugh at me.
He just comes on and asks the question and then breaks out.
That's
laughing.
Very rude. Okay, every team I cheered for was successful in a period won titles when I was 8, 9, or 10. And I've supported them ever since. The Duke Blue Devils won in 01. Yep. Yankees had that success in the late 90s. Lakers 2000, 2001, 2002, but 2000.
Ravens.
Ravens was this 2000 season, won January of 2001.
Man U.
Man U had the greatest season in English football history in 99. Also with Man U, they're also always on TV. Like you didn't. You got one game a week base or whatever. And often it was Manchester United. Who am I missing in here right now? Miami Hurricanes won the national championship in 2001.
Yankees.
They've also been garbage for a long time, and I've supported them through that. Brendan.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
The Lakers had a
goodness
bad
you're a
stretch in the
Ravens fan.
10s.
Yeah, everybody feels so bad.
United has been trash since 2013. So I've supported all those teams. Don't give me that crap there from Brendan. I did say the Yankees won late 90s.
Oh, I missed that.
They had that stretch. So, and I've supported them all since, and I've never wavered. Brendan. Before you were even born, I was cheering for all those teams. What a guy.
Are you a Duke fan?
I know.
That was
Just
awesome.
had to call me out for that for absolutely no reason.
That was awesome. to
Like,
be
couldn't
honest.
wait 20 minutes.
It's my favorite part of the
Couldn't
show.
wait 20 minutes for me to like come out there and be like, "Oh, the show's over." By the way, you have two cups. No, I'm gonna call up Matt on the air right now. My superior, like my supervisor, right now here.
You definitely
Cool.
gotta clip that. Clip that.
Thanks, bra, as Jay would say. And now he's laughing because he knows how wrong he is and he's embarrassed or something.
Stop flexing on Brendan. Honestly,
It's not very
what's
nice.
wrong with you?
Yelling at the intern.
If you don't like it here, we got a spot at Heavy Hockey for you any day.
Yeah. Apparently I'm out, so
Hashtag save the penalty kill.
You can come join us. There we go. You join us, Patrick. He'll come join you guys for the rest of the season. We'll see if that changes the power play.
Matthew Iwanyk and Mike Dashney have their first trade to announce.
See how the PK goes. And if things go well, great.
Maybe we
If
should
not-
just be GMs of our team. Then we bring in the coaches, and then we could maybe we make a little wheeling dealing. Maybe we could make a trade.
like I'm gonna answer your phone call.
ignore.
I'll be yelling at you from the bench beside you. If you're answering phone calls, you're in the wrong place.
I do. JMO and I always wanted to talk to GMs a little more on the old place because we always want to ask him about what it's like to call Lou Lamoriello or get a call from Lou Lamoriello.
No kidding, hey?
Like-
Mr. Lamoriello, sir.
Like that first time you're a GM and you have to call Lou, are you nervous because it's Lou Lamoriello?
What do you think? Like, does Lou just say hello on the other end, or is he just like, what?
Probably just heavy breathing.
Heavy breathing and what?
What do you want? No.
Mattingly shave those sideburns. Like I don't know. It's
Yankees changing that policy.
did they really?
They announced late last week. It wasn't this week. I sometimes
Really?
get
Oh, I missed
that. Brendan wants to speak now.
It's
What are
your
you
team,
going to say
man.
about
It's your team. I don't know. I'll let you take the lead.
It's your show.
My
It's his
show.
team. It's your show.
Yeah, they're going to allow well-groomed beards.
Yeah.
So
They said that no
Well,
Duck
understand.
Dynasty kind of thing. Like we're gonna keep it.
yeah, you would be fine
Yeah.
because you're not Bush
Well, I
or
think
anything
you
like
could
that.
even go bigger than this.
Yeah, I know. But I was like, do you have to? Yeah, that would be fine. You can't be. You
Like
can't
Brandon
be Brett
Marsh.
Burns,
Oh, sure,
right?
sure.
Like it has to be trimmed up nicely.
It's the stupidest rule in all of sports.
I understood it when it was George Steinbrenner's team
Why?
because he's the old school guy and that was there for a long time. Since he's passed, I don't know why Hank or Hal and I repeat Hank, he's passed too. But Hal, it's like this isn't your policy.
Upholding tradition out of respect. I understand that. Like
where
I
had
still
the
don't wear my
issue
hat to supper at
was-
my father-in-law's house. You know, like
There was a player that I think they traded for last year, and he had to shave his beard, I think. And that's where I finally was like, I don't like this because if you sign with the Yankees, you're signing knowing what the policy was. I was fine with that to agree. Like if you are a free agent and you're signing with the New York Yankees, you were agreeing to their no facial hair policy. If you get traded there, that wasn't your choice. You should not have to shave off. It's the same. I have this with the Islanders because didn't Lou make someone trim recently, like a couple years ago or something?
oh right, there was.
And if you're traded there,
Anthony Duclair, wasn't it?
thank you.
Yeah.
And it's if you're traded there, that's not the player's choice. If they have that, you can't go to them and force that. If they sign there, I understand it though.
Yeah,
But I also know that maybe now in this day and age, it's different.
it's like going to prison. Shave you all up and throw you in a room.
Yeah, check out Verdugo here.
On air, Verdugo, they're having to trim off. Was that last year?
I don't know if that was
No.
last year or 2 years ago, but yeah. And then when they bring up guys for 2-3 games and then send them back down or whatever, and they have to cut off the hair that they've been growing out for the last year.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So one person who's not actually happy with this or like is against it is Johnny Damon. And Johnny Damon is famous coming from the Red Sox to the Yankees. He had the beard with the Red Sox, went to the Yankees, had a shave. They actually had, I think, a whole Gillette sponsorship.
I think so too.
Was shaved.
Yeah.
And he said, quote, "I just heard the Yankees are not requiring people to cut their hair and trim their beards. I think we need to keep it how it was with respect to Yogi Berra, Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle, Derek Jeter, and Mariano Rivera. The Yankees are a tradition. Let's keep it. I cut those lovely locks off many years ago because George Steinbrenner is such a great human being, such a great boss. They wasn't even going to question it. Let's keep the policies the same. Listen to your bosses. Always bring your A game. Let's go."
Listen to your bosses. Always bring your A game. He was looking at you, Brennan.
Well, I was looking at my phone, but I'll look at you now.
He is bringing his A game.
Ooh, it's on his hat.
So
I can't
that's
see it on the thing. But.
and there is that side to it. When you're the New York Yankees, you have tradition, you have history.
Yeah, I
and
get
it is
that.
those. But it's. I also think times have changed, and George isn't around anymore. He passed in, I want to say 2012 or something like that.
Has it been that long already? No way.
I feel like it's been.
Oh, I
maybe
witnessed
it's
that
more
it was
recent.
10 years. Wow.
Maybe
I
it's
thought
more
it was
recent.
under 10 years, but
2010 he passed.
wow.
He passed in July of 2010. So like
That's nuts. Wow.
things have changed drastically. Beards are now like. When did beards become really like prominent?
3-4 years ago, 5 years ago,
Yeah, I feel like
6 years ago, 7 years ago,
it's-
maybe now. Yeah.
In that time, like beards were something, but they weren't what they are nowadays.
Yeah.
And so I think you have to have a different policy. So
Yeah.
actually, I didn't mind when I saw that from the Yankees, and maybe honestly, I would. Their GM's Brian Cashman. I think the question has to come up: did this impact getting free agents ever?
They said Soto didn't sign because of this.
Is that right? Eh?
And then other people are saying the $765 million was maybe it too.
Yeah, and Soto apparently also didn't sign because a security guard didn't know him or something. He was going to the Mets because the Mets were going to give a little bit more money.
Didn't you just throw a fit out here the other day because the security guard didn't know you and wouldn't let you in?
We have security guards.
Oh, you didn't know that's part of your job title. Oh, you're supposed to be doing security. You're supposed to be doing security out there. So yeah, I
That's why everybody keeps getting in.
Yeah. All 17 times.
there's a few stories with Soto.
What's the
I
password?
think I'll say this: if it was because of
Keep showing
Soto,
up.
they would have changed the policy before and signed Soto.
Yeah, that's
And
probably
I
If
don't-
Soto
Soto
was
never
sitting-
had the long hair and the beard though either.
And if Soto was sitting there going like, "I'm not signing her because of this," they would have announced like at the end of last season, "Hey, by the way, we're changing this policy," and they would have done it signing him. They wouldn't have allowed Soto to go to the Mets, and they went, "Oh, damn, we should have got rid of that policy."
Yeah, that'd be
They're
pretty
not.
dumb.
Frank Cashman's an idiot for re-signing Aaron Boone to an extension.
No kidding.
He's not that big of an idiot.
So Vladdy's not going to the Yankees then?
He actually, so I think some Blue Jays fans are mad at Vladdy right now because he spoke to John Heyman is John Heyman now with the New York newspaper? He might be. He talked openly about saying there would be no team he doesn't want to sign with, including the Yankees, but then spoke about 2 reasons he doesn't like the Yankees. So naturally it opens up like he's going to use the Yankees for bargaining power. But I think some Blue Jays fans, some were like, well, I thought you didn't want this to be a distraction. That's why you set a hard deadline for signing with the Blue Jays. And now you're talking about free agency. That doesn't work. Like if this was a distraction, you wouldn't talk about it at all. So why are you talking to a guy from New York about free agency right now?
Yeah, fair. I mean, let's be honest. He's using the Blue Jays to get a better salary, just like everybody else has.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the question was, did the Blue Jays want to pay him whatever he's going to want, or are they going to allow him to walk to the Boston Red Sox? Like I don't see the Yankees.
Oh, letting him walk would be a disaster. I mean, you have to trade him if he's not going to resign. You have to. You have to. If they let Vladdy walk, I might burn my jersey. Like, seriously, that would be ridiculous.
I threw it out there last week on the Hangout, and Blue Jays fans explained it to me a little bit more. But it was like, is there a number though that is too much for Vladdy? And it was no. Like you have to just keep him. You just can't allow that free agent to go. And I related to when Aaron Judge hit free agency a couple of years ago, and I knew that the Yankees were gonna have to overpay, and I didn't like whatever number was, but so you got to keep him no matter what.
Keep him. Yeah.
And I agree with.
Yeah, they have enough trouble getting players there. You got to keep the ones you got.
And at this point too, it's also just a business decision too.
Yeah.
Your fans are pissed. Your fans aren't happy with you. If you lose Vladdy, what is that going to do to your ticket sales? What's it going to do to your viewership? Fans are going to go okay, unless you're in the playoffs, I'm done right now. Like I think I've seen more Blue Jays fans over the last few months just be like, I'm done with this team than I've ever seen. And it's not one like, oh, you're fickle fans. Like I actually respect that out of these Blue Jays fans because they're pissed because this things were looking good under Athopoulos. They went this way. They then did have some nice heights, but it's just been destroyed. And this chasing of Soto, this chasing of Ohtani being used and not getting anything else out of it. Like, and then you allow Vladdy to walk out of all this.
Yeah. I'm with all of those other Jays fans if that's the case. It's unacceptable. I wish we still had Anthopoulos.
He just went and built the Braves a World Series.
Yeah, he hasn't done anything down there.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about it.
Yeah, done nothing since we lost him.
He got a World Series to cheer for.
Mm-hmm.
How excited were you when that happened?
I was pretty pumped up.
Yeah.
And I was watching with my best buddy. He was an Astros fan, so it was just the best situation ever.
I used to love watching the Braves. Like, but then they're just there every single year when they had Maddox and Schmaltz, and those were the years.
Yes.
Man.
Well, also they were on what was the other channel? TBS Superstation.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
And Peachtree TV a little bit, but they were on TBS,
TBS.
and so we'd get a little
like
bit of
second
like,
home team almost.
Randomly, Edmonton gets Braves games on a regular basis, which makes no sense. But we got the Braves. So I was like, I can watch a little bit of Braves baseball here.
Yeah.
Or those commercials. But yeah, I loved Greg Maddox. Actually, there was a great story I saw on TikTok where
The catchers didn't call his pitches. He called his pitches.
From how he caught the ball.
no, it was he went up against, it might have been an Astros player. I could be wrong, but it was like a blowout game for the Braves. And he pitched a ball on the inside to this player, and the guy pelted it out of the park. And the catcher was upset, like, why'd you throw it on the inside? And Greg Maddox was like, just don't worry about it. And then they met in the playoffs, and every pitch Maddox threw was to the outside. He didn't throw a single one to the inside. And
Till he needed strike three.
and he got the he didn't throw it in the inside, and he got the guy out. And then he looked to the catcher after, and he's like, that's why I did it back then. He was so far ahead that there was this blowout game, and he's like, I'm gonna give up, like, well, he didn't mean to give up a home run, I don't think, in that moment, but he's like, I'm gonna give up a pitch to this guy, because then when I meet this guy later, he's gonna think that's what I'm gonna give to him. And he was just playing this chess throughout the season. That's one of the things that helped make them. Have you seen that story?
Yep.
It's an amazing story to think that that's how
Unbelievable.
pitchers are thinking.
In the middle of July, you're thinking about October.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
8-month chess game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would have never thought that, like, and now it makes sense, but how you're meeting this one guy, and it's like, I might not meet him again till the playoffs. So I'm going to try, because this game's not close, I'm going to try setting myself up for the playoffs. And it worked out for him.
Yeah.
It was a really cool story.
What Brad and I were talking about was that Greg Maddox would call his own pitches. So the catcher would throw it back to him, and depending on how he caught the ball and which way, and if he touched his leg after, that was indicating the next pitch that he was going to throw.
Yeah, like out here, inside.
Hands out, inside. Yeah.
Out, ears. Yeah, crazy.
Nobody ever figured it out.
I would always want Greg Maddox when I was playing MLB games. I would trade for Greg Maddox, had him to my pitching rotation. Loved him. Yeah, Maddox and Glavine. And then Schmaltz coming out as a closer. Those were some good pitching stuff. And then Greg Maddox with the Cubbies too.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah, it was good times.
Patrick, Dash, appreciate you guys coming in.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Look
appreciate
forward
it.
to the show tomorrow, 9 o'clock, Oilers Live. Patrick Phillips, Oilers fanatic on YouTube as well. Look forward to the Heavy Hockey Showdown. That's the next time I will see you guys. On the 14th at Boston Pizza first.
Yep.
Coming up next here on the on Edmonton Sports Talk, not on the Hangout, but on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. We got Lock Shop, we got Two Guys in a Goalie, we got the Oil not the Oil Stream, EST Afternoons and the Reed Wilkins Show, along with the GCL Deals Oil Stream pre and post game shows tonight. Pre-game starting at 4:30. Thanks to everyone for tuning in to the EST Hangout. On behalf of Patrick, Dash, and Brendan, I am Matt. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the Oiler game. Lock Shop in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Let's go. There you go, right in front of the camera.
First time guest,
longtime listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. The difference is clear. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Zola with here. Joining us today,